We begin this overview with the beautiful hoopoe. Until Wednesday, the bird was still being observed in Maastricht. Also on Wednesday, a new bird was found at Lentevreugd, and since the first report there was only a few minutes after the last report from Maastricht, this was a new bird. The Lentevreugd bird stayed for 2 days. On the 22nd, a flycatcher was found in the dune area near Noordwijk. A flycatcher in late October is always exciting. The bird was discussed in WhatsApp groups, but ultimately no public report was made. Unfortunately, as in hindsight, the bird strongly resembles a collared flycatcher. This species is the eastern counterpart of our pied flycatcher and is seen here about annually. However, most cases are found in spring, when identification is much easier. Hopefully, it's a lesson for many to share sightings sooner so that others can decide whether to go and see the bird. A bird that was twitchable but received few visitors was a desert wheatear on Ameland. This almost annual guest of the late autumn had already been seen on Texel earlier this year and now on Ameland as well. The bird was also seen the day after its discovery. On the same island, the sixth Blyth pipit of the year was found, the first twitchable one and the first twitchable since 2020. Until 2023, there were 20 cases. With this year, the count stands at 27, as the seventh of the year was found on Schiermonnikoog. The bird was heard on Thursday, but couldn't be relocated or documented. On Friday, during the toxic trash weekend, the bird was heard again, further away, and seemed to have flown back towards Thursday's location. I was also on Schiermonnikoog that day, but the bird wasn't filmed. However, I did film the bird watchers who saw it. Returning to wheatears, an Isabelline wheatear was photographed near Katwijk on Monday. However, it took until Wednesday to confirm the species because the photos from Monday weren't very sharp and the species wasn't reported under the correct name. The bird was very tame and allowed itself to be photographed from all angles. The next day, the bird was gone. This was the 29th record for the Netherlands, but since 2021 there have been multiple cases each year. This year's count is 2, following a spring sighting. A very late wryneck was found on Texel, although it's certainly not the latest, as there's a documented November case from 2020. Several black-winged kites were suddenly seen this week. The most visited bird was on the Drenthe-Friesland border, observed multiple days in the same location. Additionally, there were 5 other sightings, 4 without photos and 1 where a buzzard was mistakenly identified as a black-winged kite. Light-colored buzzards continue to be a common pitfall. Another species that's no longer as rare as it once was is the Rarest warbler. One was found on Schiermonnikoog in the area called the Kobbeduinen. Several have appeared here in recent years. Unfortunately, the bird was only seen for 1 day and didn't stay until the weekend. On the same beautiful island, another species was found over the weekend in the same category, the rustic bunting, a twitchable bird in the forest near the campsite. There was another report in inland Friesland, but this, like most, was a flyover. Another species, noted only in flight, was a crossbill, which based on a sonogram seemed to be a parrot crossbill. Dusky warblers are proving difficult this year. This week 2 were found, one near IJmuiden and one inland on the southern side of the Veluwe. Only a very poor photo was taken of the latter. However, chances aren't over for this species, as recent years have brought overwintering birds. Our favorite warbler, the Palliser's warbler, was seen in multiple places this week. The most notable sighting was of a bird on the south pier of IJmuiden. Later, likely the same bird was seen in the bushes at the beginning of the pier. The nearly adult glaucous gull from the north pier was only reported on Tuesday and Wednesday. It seemed for a moment that the pectoral sandpiper from Arnhem had finally left, until another report came in on Sunday afternoon. Other noteworthy shorebirds were the red-necked and grey phalaropes, which could both be seen on a flooded field in North Holland. Another red-necked phalarope was seen on the Isabelline. There were only a few flyovers of the grey phalarope. The highlight of the week was found once again on Texel. At dusk, a tasselbirder found a swallow around a church tower. It turned out to be the 11th or 12th record of crag martin for the Netherlands, depending on the assessment of the observation from October 2nd on the same island. The bird decided to sleep on the church tower, which was illuminated until 10 p.m., allowing birders to watch it well into the night. The following day, the bird continued to fly around the church tower for several hours, allowing mainland birders to join in. This marks the 5th consecutive year we've seen the species in the Netherlands, and the 3rd year in a row with twitchable birds, a remarkable trend, as we had no sightings for a decade before that. Lastly, our ducks are still in their usual spots. The lesser scorp was still at the Vogelmeer. Ringneck ducks were seen as usual at the Vogelmeer and in Herugewaard. Black guillemots were also observed. The tasselbird was still swimming around the south side of the island. Additionally, there was a photographed bird flying past the Schelling. A juvenile common rosefinch was seen inland. The 2 white-winged terns, still in full summer plumage in northern Groningen, were last seen on Tuesday. In contrast, the rosy starling was observed on Texel throughout the week, while the American golden plover and the long-billed dowitcher were not reported this week. Only time will tell if the birds are truly gone or simply overlooked. Wild warblers are also doing well for this late in October, with 3 new birds. The first was a herd only in Westkapelle, followed by a trap bird on Vlieland, and finally a bird near Beckheide, around the parking lot where many birders had parked during the dark-sided Flycatcher event. The bird was last seen on Sunday afternoon. Will this be the last one for the year? We'll find out in the next updates. The final mega rarity of the week was a probable Daurian shrike. The question remains whether the photos are good enough to rule out the very similar red-tailed shrike in its first winter plumage. For twitchers, it didn't matter much, as the bird was in an area not open to the public. An excursion was considered should the bird stay longer, but unfortunately it seemed to be a one-day wonder with no further sightings. On Wednesday, news broke that a petrel seen on October 10th in France actually turned out to be the Western Palearctic's first burrows petrel ever. Also, some new black-faced buntings were found, making it a total of at least 6 birds this autumn in Europe already. It could still happen in November, guys, so go out there and find one. Also this week, it turned out pine grosbeaks are moving into southern Scandinavia again. None have been seen in Denmark yet, but if one overshoots and finds itself above the North Sea, there could be a chance one lands in the lower countries. So check those berry bushes the coming weeks. Also, a red-wattled lapwing turned up in Syria. Not quite the distance from the breeding grounds as the Netherlands are, but it was the first record of the species since 2008 for the country. On Friday, the second ever Asian desert warbler for Norway was caught and ringed, already the 4th European record this autumn. If you like these overviews, then make sure to subscribe and please like the video and leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.